Honourable Ministers, the Government Chief Whip, Honourable Junior Ministers, Members of the National Assembly, Excellencies, distinguished guests, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sir Harry Lal Badji Memorial Hall. For those that don't know me, my name is Melin Baloo. I'm a broadcast host and journalist, and I'm delighted to be your MC for this important event. Today, we launched the 16 Days of Activism Against Gender-Based Violence, a global campaign observed from November 25th to December 10th. For the first time, Mauritius Parliamentary Gender Caucus, under the leadership of the Honourable Speaker, coordinates this initiative in partnership with the United Nations Development Programme. At its heart is an immersive exhibition, a happening that brings together Mauritian artists, testimonies and interactive experiences to raise awareness and inspire action. Ladies and gentlemen, I now have the pleasure of inviting Mrs. Alka Bhatia, Resident Representative of the United Nations Development Programme, to deliver her opening remarks. Mrs. Bhatia, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Director of Ceremonies. Dr. the Honorable Naveen Chandra Ramgoolam, Prime Minister of the Republic of Mauritius. Honorable Madame Shireen Sifra, Speaker of the National Assembly. Honorable Paul Méranger, Deputy Prime Minister. Honorable Madame Ariane Nawarimari, Minister of Gender Equality and Family Welfare. Honourable Ministers, Junior Ministers, Members of Parliament, Honourable Members of the Parliament Gender Caucus, Excellencies, Members of the Press, distinguished guests, all protocols observed, ladies and gentlemen. A very good morning to all of you. It's a great honor for me to join you today as we embark together on the global campaign of the 16 Days of Activism Against Gender-Based Violence, a movement that reminds us that violence against women and girls is not inevitable, it is preventable, and ending it is a collective responsibility. As I stand with you this morning for the launch of this exhibition and the 16 Days of Activism, I actually do so with a heavy heart. In the short time since arriving in Mauritius as the UNDP resident representative, we have already lost 2 teenage girls to suicide after enduring online violence and abuse. 2 cases too many. 2 bright futures that will never unfold. A devastating reminder that without action, the digital world can become a place of profound harm. This year's theme of the 16 Days of Activism, Unite to End Digital Violence Against All Women and Girls, calls for urgent action to make digital spaces safe, inclusive, empowering us all. Violence has expanded beyond physical spaces into the digital world. Nearly 28% women in sub-Saharan Africa report online abuse. Women in public life face severe online targeting, with 46% of female parliamentarians and 73% of women journalists reporting digital attacks, while 58% of young women and girls have experienced online harassment. Ladies and gentlemen, let these not just be statistics. Let us pay attention to this. As in Mauritius, more young women and girls are also increasingly experiencing trauma behind screens and digital devices, with over 1,100 reported cases of online harassment affecting mostly women, since January this year. This adds to more than the 4,100 reported cases of domestic violence over the past year, and obviously there are lots which go unreported. So therefore, digital spaces must expand opportunity, not amplify harm. Protecting women and girls from online violence is not optional. It is a core human rights obligation and a prerequisite for sustainable development. And we need to look at GBV from a very holistic perspective, as it is a cause and consequence of gender inequality in our society. It is caused by long-standing power imbalances, unequal access to resources, unequal voice in decision-making, discriminatory social norms, pay gaps, harmful masculinity, etc. And GBV in turn reinforces this gender inequality. It restricts women's mobility, silences their voices, reduces their economic opportunities, and limits participation in public life. I would just like to share a few statistics with you, where in Mauritius, and this is Mauritius specific, more girls than men are educated, but they earn 20% less than men on average. Only 10.9% of working women are heading businesses compared to 25.1% amongst men. The proportion of women in the most senior positions in government services is 34.9%. Unemployment rate amongst women is higher than men, 7.9% for women and 4.3% for men. And only around 18% of parliament seats are held by women, 12 out of 66, and just 2 out of 24 ministers are women. To break the vicious cycle of GBV, we must not only respond to individual incidents of violence, but confront the power structures, the norms, and the systems that allow it to persist. UNDP, together with government, civil society, and development partners, has long supported a whole-of-society approach through strategies, legal reforms, service delivery frameworks, rehabilitation programs, and digital tools to encourage reporting. We remain a strong partner to the Parliamentary Gender Caucus. Honourable Prime Minister, Madam Speaker, Honourable Deputy Prime Minister, and Honourable Minister, UNDP stands ready to deepen its support. Across Africa, UNDP has supported governments to explicitly address digital violence within their legislative frameworks on GBV and to establish digital tools that monitor online abuse and generate actionable data to inform policy and strengthen advocacy for safer digital environments. We would be honored to explore similar avenues with the government of Mauritius. Today's exhibition is part of that commitment. Through art, bold, honest, and evocative, we bring to light what too often remains hidden. The images, the voices, the experiences on display in these halls are not mere testimonies of pain. They are acts of resilience. They are calls for transformation. The exhibition is not simply a collection of works. It is a collective declaration. We see you, we hear you, we stand with you. As you walk through this exhibition today, I urge you not only to observe, but to engage. Let it challenge us, move us, and mobilize us. To government and parliamentarians, our plea is to not only continue strengthening laws, allocating resources, and enforcing protections with vigor, but also address the low participation of women in politics and in leadership roles. To civil society and survivors, please speak out, lead, and hold systems accountable. To men and boys, do engage, speak up, challenge harmful norms at home, at school, online. This change needs you. Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, before concluding, to express my heartfelt gratitude to all partners that made this exhibition possible, to Madam Speaker, whose vision and dedication was instrumental in bringing this initiative to life, to the members of the Parliamentary Gender Caucus, to the dedicated team of the National Assembly, to the artists, to the various government institutions supporting this event, to civil society organizations, to my colleagues in UNDP, and most of all, to the survivors whose courage lights the way forward. A special thank you to you, Honorable Prime Minister, for being here today. Your presence signals leadership and commitment at the highest level. So let this exhibition mark a turning point for us. Let these 16 days ignite structural, lasting change in every home, school, workplace, and every digital space across the nation. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Mrs. Bhatia, for those important words. I now call upon, ladies and gentlemen, the Honourable Ariane Navarre-Marie, Minister of Gender Equality and Family Welfare, to address us. Minister.
Thank you. The Honourable Prime Minister, Honourable Deputy Prime Minister, Honourable Speaker of the National Assembly, Honourable members of the National Assembly, members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished guests, all protocol observed, ladies and gentlemen. C'est avec plaisir que nous participons aujourd'hui au lancement des 16 Days of Activism contre la violence à l'égard des femmes. Ce lancement aujourd'hui-là, il a une signification profonde parce qu'il justement est initié par nul autre que Madame le Speaker. Comme chairperson du Parliamentary Gender Caucus, Madame Speaker montrait ce commitment à la cause de l'égalité des genres. Et aussi, parce qu'il me connaît son engagement, qu'il peut agir sur les autres problématiques du genre, à savoir la représentation des femmes au niveau de prise de décision et de la politique. L'initiative d'aujourd'hui lui renforce le rôle d'un parlementaire pour œuvrer pour une société qui a dignité, sécurité et respect pour madame et les enfants. Conscientiser la violence basée sur le genre, n'est pas une activité. C'est la responsabilité citoyenne, nationale. Nous visons continuellement informer la population pour nous comprendre les racines du mal, les racines de la violence et soutenir les survivantes avec compassion et humanisme, tout en encourageant une culture d'équité, d'égalité et de respect. Une campagne de sensibilisation importante aussi, pour que la société rejette la violence sous toutes ses formes. Ainsi, nous pouvons capables briser le cycle de violence intergénérationnelle. Depuis que je prends mes fonctions comme ministre, plusieurs mesures nous prend. Les 12 Family Support Services à travers le pays offrent désormais un one-stop shop et offrent différents services aux victimes sous un même toit. Les victimes de violences connaissent qu'ils ont une seule place pour aller, pour gagner plusieurs services. Protection, conseil légal, support psychologique et l'aide de la police. Nous y faire une suggestion à mon collègue, le ministre de la Santé, pour un dedicated ward dans chaque hôpital pour qu'il y ait un fast track à une victime de violence. Je connais qu'il n'est pas insensible à ça et j'espère qu'il nous aille dans la bonne direction. La mission du ministère est bien claire. Protéger et autonomiser. Protect and empower. Dans le cadre de ces 16 jours, le thème que le ministère vient choisir, c'est « Femmes te passes une victime, tu un changement ». Inspiré par mon rencontre avec une femme sans abri à mon bureau le 10 octobre cette année-là. Autour d'une tasse de thé, je fin raconte-moi la vie. Et je fin trouve le potentiel et la capacité de rebondir. Mon ministère il travaille en partenariat avec différents ministères et départements, à savoir la sécurité sociale, le IT, le département de la police, la UN Resident Coordinator's Office, UNODC, UNFPA et des ONG, entre autres. Et nous pas capables de travailler en silo. Nous besoin collaboration tout le monde, la société civile, les individus et les ONG. Hier, mon collègue de la sécurité sociale indiquait sur l'intention pour mettre à notre disposition au moins 6 unités de logement qui tombent sous ce ministère, à Bois-Savon, pour permettre aux victimes et aux autres enfants gagnent un toit. J'ai envie de saluer aussi aujourd'hui les autres ONG qui déjà offert un abri à une violence victime. À une victime violence. Avec mes collègues, le ministre IT, nous pas seulement organiser un workshop, le danger online. Nous pouvons également préparer législation et mécanismes de protection contre la cybercriminalité qui est une autre forme de violence. Avant-hier, nous procède à l'inauguration d'un centre d'accueil, premier centre pour les femmes sans abri à Maurice, qui s'appelle Carousel, à Rosebell, par la ONG Passerelle. Du BV, il n'est pas conscientis, madame, et il n'est pas tous l'autre là. Il n'est pas un problème privé, il y a une cause nationale. Et le gouvernement, il fait de sa cause-là, sa cause, nous cause. Nous tous, on a le devoir pour combattre ce fléau-là et faire que nous vivions dans une société que de femmes et de jeunes filles arrêtent de vivre dans la peur de domination, que vous êtes capables de respirer et prendre la vie en main. Merci.
Thank you, Honourable Minister, for these inspiring and powerful words. Madam Speaker, the Honourable Shirin Omerodi Zifra, may I now invite you to share your message with us. Thank you.
Can't see you. Honourable Prime Minister, Honourable Deputy Prime Minister, Honourable Ministers, Madame Navar in particular, and Madame Bhatia, thank you for being with me today. All of you, en vos grades et qualités, imitating President Macron. So I don't have to salute each and every one of you. I'm going to speak a bit of English because of Madame Bhatia, but she's going to learn French soon, and maybe Creole. Basically, if I start speaking in this mic about gender-based violence and women's problems, you may stay the whole day. Because most of you who are here today know that for the past 50 years, maybe even more, I have incessantly been struggling for women's rights. I'm a feminist. People used to think feminism was une maladie, but in fact now we see that our Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister are feminists, and we are because we believe that men and women have equal rights. It's a question of human rights. It's a question of democracy. But how can you go on, all of us, as fathers, as mothers, as sisters, as daughters, how can we remain silent when we know that although we call it gender-based violence, we know that women in particular, but also little boys, you'd be very surprised, I've been ombudsperson for children as well, are victims every day. Thank you, Alka, for having given us all the data. I was going to tell you some of the data, but even this, we can't cite figures because they are not true. You know, they reveal part of the problem. They don't reveal everything because there's so much silence, including in our own homes. I don't want to give away what we are going to be doing next Monday, because during these 16 days, I can't organize an event 16 days, but I have got events, side events, which I will be organizing and inviting you if you can come. And I think it's very important for you, members of parliament, ministers, and of course, human rights organizations, DPP, I salute all of you. Mr. Boulel, everybody who's here, you weren't invited par hasard. I wanted national human rights institutions to be with us. I wanted all the big independent institutions to be here with us. Parliament is independent. I'm not going to be doing what Madame Navarre is doing. That's her job. Elle a mis le doigt sur l'essentiel. My role and the role of our members of the Gender Caucus, whom I salute today, I can see some of you present, our role is not the same as that of the executive. The members of parliament, not the speaker, in the Gender Caucus, their role is to keep ministers on their toes, including on this issue. And ministers, I think, are used to be on their toes, although yesterday was a bit hard for me. Anyway, I think the idea of doing this was, we don't do anything. We suggest, we propose, we make you come, and we invite the public to come every day. I don't know if it's going to be very popular. I am told people had already come this morning. But what we want, c'est la maison du peuple. L'Assemblée nationale doit redevenir la maison du peuple. Il faut que les députés, vous voyez vos mandants dans vos circonscriptions, mais là, le peuple vient chez nous. Ils ont l'habitude, hein? Maybe some of you, you don't know, but my office is forever signing for groups, especially of senior citizens, and sometimes schools. They come and visit the National Assembly. But now we tell them, come here, and then the last weekend, we are portes ouvertes. They will be able to come here and also visit the National Assembly, but we don't want them just to come and have a look, as Alka said so well. We don't want you just to have a look at these fantastic paintings and sculpture and everything. We want people to be part and parcel of the solution. We want them to read what the artists have, how they described each one of these paintings. Then you will know some of them are victims. They've got their paintings here. Some of them will be putting little leaves on that tree of dignity which is just here. Some of you have already put your little comment. I saw Babita put her first comment this morning. Any one of you, you can put a comment on the tree of dignity just to tell us what for you is most important. But more than that, we count on each one of you, and I also salute some of the NGOs who are here, because you have networks. We want you to go through your networks and talk about this issue we've been fighting for years. The time is to find solutions. So let us all put our heads together. Minister said it, I'm saying it again. We all know that one ministry will not be sufficient. I know that ministry very well. But one ministry will not be sufficient to come with great solutions. And one country will not be enough. Maybe Mauritius can show other countries the way to something. We don't know. When we talk of best practices, Attorney General was talking about best practices yesterday. We can also export our best practices. So my message today is, please don't hesitate. You can write on the tree, you can write in a book, you can send us your thoughts, you can keep keep coming. Maybe you can come twice, 3 times in order to grasp everything, because you will be seeing little films now on all this. And you can also put le casque virtuel. You know, we have virtual reality. You can watch little films of what, in fact, gender-based violence is. Thanks to the UNDP, we have these virtual reality. It takes you a few minutes, but if you watch it, believe me, you will feel. And what I want you to go out with today is not just your head, but also your heart, because we want you to feel, and then around you spread the news and try and get people to understand, and I will end here, that each citizen in this country, each person has a responsibility. We've put here respect. This is the word of the day. What is important is to respect the other person. If we respect the other person, our own wives, our own daughters, our own husbands, if we respect the other person, our children in schools, who should not be bullied either by their little friends or by their teachers, if we respect, this is the beginning of a new Mauritius, I think. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this impactful and informative address. Ladies and gentlemen, I now invite the Honourable Paul-Raymond Béranger, Deputy Prime Minister, to share his message with us.
Merci, Monsieur le Premier ministre, Madame Speaker, la représentante des Nations Unies, Madame la ministre de la Famille et des Femmes, tout le ministre présent, junior ministers, députés, le Lord Mayor de Port-Louis, la doyenne du corps diplomatique, our sister from South Africa, the DPP, le commissaire de police, NGOs present, and all the others who have come here today to start this 16 days of activism. Nous, ici, à l'occasion de la journée internationale contre la violence faite aux femmes, mais aussi à l'appel du secrétaire général des Nations Unies, Liban, qui nous saluait l'initiative du speaker et de la représentante des Nations Unies. C'est une très bonne initiative qui nous est ouverte aujourd'hui. Bravo. Et Liban aussi, il y a un symbole qui nous commence ce jour d'activisme contre la violence faite aux femmes en présence du Premier ministre, du Vice-Premier ministre et du ministre responsable de la famille et des femmes. Nous constater, et nous tout faire lire avec douleur, qui de par le monde, if anything, la violence contre les femmes peut augmenter. En tout cas, nous vivons plus intensément à cause du développement de l'audiovisuel, de la communication en général. Seulement, nous constatons aussi qu'en même temps que la violence contre les femmes pire qu'ils jamais, en même temps, il y a une vague mondiale de par le monde qui levait et qui visait à continuer à lever pour mettre fin à la violence contre les femmes. Et ici, même à Maurice, il faudrait qu'il soit arrivé ici aussi. Il faudrait qu'à partir de maintenant, chacun nous donne son coup de main pour qu'il y ait une vague levée pour l'élimination. Pas juste le combat, mais l'élimination de la violence contre les femmes. Tout à l'heure, nous pouvons appeler à prendre un engagement, une pledge, qui chacun parmi nous, à nos façons, à nos niveaux, nous donne un coup de main pour l'élimination de la violence faite aux femmes. Il ne faudrait pas nous penser à l'engagement qui nous peut signer là, ça pledge là, à la légère. Nous demandons chacun parmi nous, nous signe ça pledge là, ça l'engagement là, personnellement, mais nous mettons en pratique. Nous pas signer un jour et oublier le lendemain. Pour ma part, moi, j'ai terminé en disant que, de mon point de vue, peut-être la meilleure façon, la façon la plus importante pour combattre la violence contre les femmes, c'est à travers nos bonnes enfants et nos bonnes petits-enfants. Qui manière nous éduquons, qui l'exemple nous donnait, qui ont senti, qui nous respectait dans la vie. C'est pourquoi moi vous demande tout le monde parmi nous, surtout les qui et les enfants et les petits-enfants, renouveler nous l'engagement, chacun à nos façons, chacun à nos niveaux. Et vraiment qui fait un nom, l'île Maurice là, souvent nous prend nous pour le nombril du monde. Nous connaissons vrai, mais il ne faudrait pas dire l'île. Ben oui, à nous prendre ce qui est Chirine, ce qui est premier. Nous qui avons introduit le ministère des droits de la femme, beaucoup d'années de cela. L'autre la vie, ça. Mais nous prenons sur l'appel au sérieux, nous faire de nous l'île Maurice un modèle, un exemple dans le combat pour l'élimination de bonnes violences faites aux femmes et aux bonnes jeunes filles. Merci.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Prime Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, it's true that we've heard powerful messages this morning about our collective responsibility to end gender-based violence. It is now my honour to invite Dr. the Honourable Navin Chandra Ramgoolam, Prime Minister of the Republic of Mauritius, to officially launch this event and this exhibition.
Thank you.
Deputy Prime Minister, Honourable Speaker of the National Assembly, the Minister for Women, Gender and Domestic Violence Prevention, the UNDP representative, Lord Mayor, Honourable DPP, Chairperson of the Human Rights Commission, the Commissioner of Police, colleague ministers, members of Parliament, members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished guests. It is really a sad reflection on the state of societies throughout the world, not just in Mauritius, that every year we have to focus on the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. Every year, from the 25th of November, which is the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, to the 10th of December, Human Rights Day, the Secretary General of the United Nations invites everyone to join together to prevent these violence. There is a global campaign called 16 Days of Activism against gender-based violence. And it is important that we take stock of what is the situation and how we can add our voices and actions to ensure that violence recedes, if not eliminated totally. Unfortunately, in the whole world, there is a lot of violence everywhere. We refer to more individual and silent, we should say, crimes that affect individuals, be it in public areas, in schools, in sports, in the workplace, but very often in the privacy of homes, away from the regard des autres. Yet it is possible. If we realize it, it is possible to curb this form of despicable violence. Any violence is despicable. No government in a democratic state can refuse to recognize these facts. It's not a fait divers, as the UNDP representative, Mr. Bhatia, just said. It is not just statistics. Even one is one too many. Victims are suffering and live in fear, and many lose their lives. Some commit suicide because it's so unbearable. Any responsible government must devise strong and efficient policies to address this issue. And this is what we are trying to do, precisely. Figures reveal it is by far mostly women. We speak of gender violence, but it's mostly women, in particular, who are the victims. And it doesn't only concern couples who live together. It also concerns teenagers who have love relationships that become toxic. This is termed dating violence. I remember quite some time back, Luca Virasomi explained in detail to me especially how this, I think she wrote a whole thesis on this, and how it is that in the home, when the boy especially sees his father beating up his mother, he comes to the conclusion that this is normal. It is normal to beat a woman. This is where we have to attack the problem. This is at the very source. And we know that this kind of violence, it cuts across communities, all social strata. This is why we want to bring strong policies to address this scourge. Mauritius, Ashidal, was the first country to have set up a dedicated ministry to deal with gender discrimination and adopt the strategies that will help the victims of violence. I commend the current minister, who is now actively restructuring the services of this very important ministry. But violence, as she said, concerns also other ministries. Honorable Speaker also said that. In particular, the Ministry of Education and Human Resources. Because children must be taught their rights and responsibilities and how to protect themselves and denounce those who have violence, any kind of violence on them or on their parents. But also the Ministry of Youth and Sports. It also plays an essential role. We see violence, young adolescents, victims in the arena of sports. Also the Ministry of Information Technology and Communication. As cyber violence is also on the rise. We've seen recently a young girl committed suicide because of cyber violence. Madam Speaker, the National Assembly has a parliamentary gender caucus, which we chair. And I understand that this caucus has decided, as you just said, to organize a full-fledged campaign during the 60 days to reach and sensitize the public on the need for every citizen to understand the issue of gender-based violence and to bring their own contribution to curb any form of violence. I noted the UND representative just said, and she's right, to bring us to task. Too few women in Parliament and too few women ministers. But we have to correct this, and I can assure you, we have brought a law, we introduced a law so that in the local government, you're bound to have 30% of women. It is law now, and it is working. Some people, at the time, you have some, especially men, who think this is not possible. You can't have a president of district council as women. They have become, and they work even better than the men, I should say. But we need to address this issue as well. And I can tell you, the Deputy Prime Minister and myself, we are going to bring forward this electoral reform that we are committed to bring. We are hoping, we're not just hoping, I think we will address this issue. Because with electoral reform, with a dose of PR, we should be able to address this problem of representations of women in Parliament. I commend the initiative of the Honourable Speaker to invite the population at large to this multi-media interactive exhibition and to bring their own proposals. This is a societal ill which deserves our full attention. We must be aware of it. Many people are not even aware that this exists. Many people think it's normal, it's normality. Each and every one of us should feel concerned with the present state of affairs. Government alone cannot deal with it. It is the responsibility of every citizen in this country. And this is how we can attain our objective of eliminating violence against women. And I want to end by thanking the UNDP for its support, and I'm pleased that Mrs. Bhatia, the new resident representative of the UNDP, is with us today and will help us eliminate violence against mostly women but also men. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister, for those inspiring words and for officially launching this important initiative. And now invite once again the Honourable Shirin Ormurdi Zifra, who has a special announcement. Madam Speaker.
Dear friends, I would ask you to stand up and keep 1 minute of silence for all, mostly women, but also other people. I just learned about what happened in Switzerland, for example, which concerns us. Let's stand and keep 1 minute of silence for everyone who died because of gender-based violence. Thank you. Prime Minister, may I ask you to come and sign the pledge, please? Pour le vice-premier ministre aussi. Okay.
Our distinguished guests, some added their signatures to this important pledge today, ladies and gentlemen. The Speaker of the National Assembly will now lead our distinguished guests on a guided tour of the exhibition. This exhibition features powerful testimonies, interactive installations, and artistic expressions that shed light on the reality of gender-based violence and the pathways toward prevention and support. Have a nice visit, everybody.
Vous emmenez Madame Baptia. Okay.